He needs to sneak them out and chase them around.
Oh, performing. Adjacent on the left. Headed with something bigger! That's the last of them. Stalking, and we're stalking. All that pomp and circumstance out there. For this. The hell's the point?
Never cared much for hors d'oeuvres. The word is just grotesque. All those superfluous letters ruin my appetite. My trophy! Look at this thing! Have you ever seen a more garish monument to the boredom of the elite? If only Grandfather Mostly were alive today, I would have loved to wave this trophy right in front of his cataracts. I hope you won't take it personally when I say I had my doubts about you. Nothing ever gets done in Byzantium, you see. Competent work is, well, a statistical anomaly. Lifting the emergency lockdown requires overrides from the Chem Lab and Human Inquiry. Access to those facilities requires authorizations from 2 senior-level researchers. Marion Blakesley, Jasper Lowe. They went into hiding after the project collapsed, but I've managed to calculate their last known whereabouts within a reasonable margin of error. We keep all sorts of data on a permanent record. spending habits, dietary restrictions, movement. Finding a person is no more complicated than solving an equation. After the project shut down, I had to keep my mind occupied. I worked on my actuarial tables, calculated the average lifespan of a Spacer's Choice worker, that sort of thing. I realized some of the researchers had to be alive. I ran some numbers, did a little research, and concluded that the two most likely survivors are Marion Blakesley and Jasper Lowe. Nonsense. I just needed a good old-fashioned statistical problem to busy my mind. Keeps the faculties lubricated. Let me stop you there. I don't accept anything for free. And if you're going to analyze me, I'd have to go through the trouble of hiring you on contract. Think what you will of my intentions, my calculations are sound. You'll find Marion Blakesley and Jasper Lowe at the enclosed locations. As far as I know, Jasper Lowe and Marion Blakesley are the only two surviving researchers with high-level clearance. If you want to lift the lockdown on the manufactory, you'll need to send an override from the Chem Lab and Human Inquiry. I'm afraid it's the only way. I'll tell you what I can. Dr. Marion Blakesley supervised the Human Inquiry and Auditing Facility. Live subjects, measuring tape and syringes, that sort of thing. Someone sabotaged the facility. Blakesley tendered her resignation and vanished. I'm reasonably certain she's hiding in a maintenance bay on Groundbreaker. Well, with Spacer's Choice equipment, who even knows? Dr. Blakesley tendered her resignation lawfully, but under suspicious circumstances. If you want to know more, you'd best ask her yourself. Dr. Lowe described himself as a dazzling genius in his review. I disagreed. Of the 19 criteria that constitute the rubric of genius, Dr. Lowe only met 15. After the project shut down, corporate traded him off to Anti-Cleo in exchange for 5 lab coats. He's been transferred to an orbital lab around Olympus.
No, Captain. Lab coats, as in scientists.
Is your captain always this dense? How are you all still alive?
I live for risk.
I live for risk.
Let's get back on topic. You'll find Dr. Lowe in an orbital lab around Olympus. Certainly. What's on your mind?
I shipped with a merc who had a gun like yours, Nyoka. He polished it, sang to it, slept with it. Not like that, as far as I know.
Sounds like he had himself a discerning pally. Where are you going with this?
He couldn't hit the broadside of an assault cruiser, hence the tin shredder.
Wouldn't be the first man I met bearing compensation for...
There's my parents' place. Smell that? Industrial-grade cleaning solvent in desperation.
Marilyn, is that you?
Lars, we certainly didn't expect to see you like this.
And I didn't expect you to renew your marriage contract. But we're all full of surprises today, aren't we? Speaking of surprises, you should meet my new friend. We've been running around the system for a while now, stirring up all sorts of trouble. I don't know what to say. She's usually not like this. Come on, you're supposed to help me make an impression. Anyway, you're probably wondering where I've been all this time.
Not exactly.
The last few years have been a bloody haze. You wouldn't believe the messes we've gotten ourselves into. Right? Yep, we're a pair of disgraceful lowlifes.
Marilyn, this really isn't the best time. Perhaps you should go.
I mean, we had other business in Byzantium, so it's not like we went out of our way. But you can't just kick us out. We'll stay as long as we like. And while we're at it, we'll drink your expensive hooch, wear our outside shoes all over your nice floors. She's right. Since when can you afford authentic Terran marble?
That's what we've been trying to tell you, dear, but you must understand, we hadn't heard from you in ages.
We thought you were dead.
I'm not dead. I just never wanted to talk to you again.
I'm afraid the distinction was lost on us, darling.
We only did what any grieving parents in our position would do. We collected on your life insurance policy.
And the payouts have been rather, substantial.
You what?
Of course. And we shall always harbor that joyful secret deep within our hearts.
And you'll report it to the insurance company, right?
It's not that simple. For one thing, we'd have to cut back on so many necessities. The neighbors would be sure to notice.
Damn right, Captain. Fine. I'm gone. Forever this time. Can we talk? Can you believe those two? We'd hardly been there a minute and they turned us out like yesterday's garbage. I wanted them to get upset. I just thought it would play out differently. They'd both be sitting there watching one of their vapid aetherwave dramas, and then we'd walk in. Mother would drop her mock apple cider, and the glass would shatter all over their overpriced marble. Father would tear off his glasses and blink open-mouthed. I'd have a great one-liner in the tube. I was thinking either, the leather's fake but the scars are real, or, oops, did I just track awesome onto your rug? Yeah, I'm gonna use that one day. Now, getting back to my story. Father would throw his hands up, because this would be just like me, to come back and make a big scene. Then, Mother would do the old, "You had us worried sick." Her eyes would be red, and she'd have her fist in front of her mouth to stifle a sob. I just didn't want to get booted out of the house I grew up in like that. It's embarrassing, you know. And I've got a reputation to maintain. I'd love to know how you'd describe getting kneecapped. Uh-oh, it looks like we're in for a big talk. Unless you mean the kind who'll look out for you to blink so they could swipe your bits. The galaxy's not exactly crawling with those. Anyway, I don't want to sift through this lousy experience for meaningful life lessons. I'm mad, and I want to do something about it. Something like... Wait a second. What if I could get that money? I could open a new account, designate that account holder as a sole beneficiary. All the payouts would go to me. I'll make money without doing a thing. And I'll get to cut them off. My policy is with the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group. They have an office in Byzantium. Maybe you could use some of your people skills to help me set up a dummy beneficiary account. If that doesn't work, I'm sure we can find one of their terminals and do it ourselves. If I never smell another raft, it'll be too soon.
Weren't you a sawbones? Figured you ought to have smelled worse.
Sure, but those things reek like bad cologne. It's different.
I'm with you there. At least humans have the courtesy to wait a while before their bodies start to stink.
Most of them.
I've always loved that stuff.
I guess we're going to Falbrook.
Anti-Cleo's facial mask skin cream. Leaves you feeling fresh and tingling. Do not operate Horse pockets can be microwaved in 2.5 seconds. Horse pockets.
I've always loved that sculpture.
You, with the hips. Over here. Don't speak. Hold that posture for a moment while I admire you. You have a natural contrapposto, my dear. The way you rest your weight against your hip suggests a certain rugged charisma possessed only by the mighty primal and the well-traveled spacer. Splendid. I love it. Ah, Celeste, you've done it again. I knew from the moment I laid eyes on you that I'd found my muse. I'm Celeste Jolicoeur, and you, my dear, are exactly what Byzantium needs. Darling, you and that brutish swagger of yours have been on my mind the moment you stepped into my studio. I'm working on a new line of clothing that will shock this city to its core, and I'd like your help. What do you say, my dear? Care to make history with me? Marvelous! You and I are gonna wake this city up like a cold splash of wine to the face. What I need is a survey of the outside world. What does the common laborer wear? How do the wild-eyed madmen of Monarch dress themselves? I've heard rumors, but I require samples. Also, I expect you to model for me. Oh, you cad! You'll be the talk of Byzantium once I'm done with you. I'll need you to model for me the following: the apparel of an iconoclast, the armor of a marauder, and a full ensemble of spacer gear, helmet included. And when I say spacer gear, I mean an outfit worn by real spacers. None of that garbage spacer's choice pedals. You have the bearing and demeanor of a born model. You're going to absolutely murder this job. Fabulous! I can't wait to see what you dredge up.
You don't gotta be so forward about my reasons, Captain.
Let me get a good look at you. Turn around, please, darling. My word, such muscular shoulders. You're a vision, dear.
I am no such thing, ma'am.
Nonsense, you're absolutely lovely. Chin up now. I have just the thing for you. Let me do a back-of-the-envelope calculation. Materials, labor, licensing and copyright. There. Love. That's the ultimate luxury, darling. Love. Oh, gracious me.
I don't get why that's funny, ma'am.
Oh, my cherub. Who woos for love anymore? That's so... precious. All right, Captain. Here is the absolute best I can do for you. There are some things I simply cannot skimp on, darling. Such a lovely young lady deserves the best. Now stand back. Back! I'll enter the settings and get these machines spinning. You'll be broke to bespoke in merely an hour. And there we are, my darling girl. I wish you a splendiferous evening. And if you don't mind my asking, have you any interest in modeling?
What? Oh, no, ma'am. All them eyes staring at me? I couldn't. No way, no how. I get scared just thinking on it.
I wish you weren't so shy, my Violet. You truly are beautiful. I hope your date sees that as clearly as I.